first thing you're going to want to do is pick out some yarn, and I recommend starting with a really basic yarn, a medium weight, nothing too thin, nothing too thick, your standard acrylic yarn that you see all over the craft stores. That's just a perfect one to start with. And your label will tell you what size hook you'll need. So it'll tell you the knitting needle size and the crochet hook size. This one says 5mm. It also says US H/8. Some needles will tell you on the needle that they are a certain millimeter size, and some will tell you that they're a certain letter or number size, and some will tell you both. I happen to have a 5mm here. It does not have a letter on it, but that's okay. 5mm is what this particular yarn recommends. It's not a hard and fast rule. You'll want to use whatever hook makes it easiest for you to work with that yarn, especially when you're just starting out. Make it easy on yourself. So the first thing we're going to do is make a slip knot. This is the thing that you need to know to start every crochet project, and there's a lot of ways to make a slip knot. I'm just going to show you one today to get you started quick and easy. So I've wrapped my yarn around the back of my fingers. If you've never made a slip knot before, I find this to be an easy way to do it. So you've got a loop, and then you're just going to reach through the loop and pull that tail. Not all the way through, just pull it enough to make a loop. And you can verify that you did this right if you can pull on the tail and make the loop smaller. Let me do that again for you. So I'm just wrapping my yarn into an X so that I have a loop. And then I'm going to reach through the loop and grab the tail, making an adjustable loop. If you need to back up and try that a few more times, please do. There's so many ways to make a slip knot. That's just one quick and easy. I'll do a whole video on different slip knots eventually. Okay, so then you're going to put your hook in and adjust your knot. Not too tight, not too loose, something like this. And the way that you're going to hold your hook is kind of going to be up to you. There are different ways to do it. Let me back up here. Some people hold their hook like this. I think they refer to this as the knife hold, like you're holding a knife. And some people hold it like this, like they're holding a pencil. I've been crocheting for decades, and I very, very rarely do it this way just because I didn't learn this way. I can do it this way, but it's still kind of awkward. I almost always use the knife hold. There's no right way or wrong way to do it. Whatever is best for you, whatever feels comfortable to you. And as you're learning, nothing's going to feel comfortable, and that's okay. But you'll eventually get to a place that that does feel comfortable for you. Something to keep in mind, you just want to do what's literally comfortable for you. And by that I mean, make sure you're not gripping. Make sure you're being good to your hands, because if you're not relaxed and your hands are not comfortable, they'll tire out easily, they'll cramp, it'll hurt. You crochet for a few years and find that you just can't do it anymore because you really hurt your hands. Just relax. Do whatever is relaxing to you. Same thing with the yarn. I'm going to go ahead and put my hook in now. The way that you hold your yarn is, again, there's no right way or wrong way, but you'll find what works for you and what creates the best tension. And by tension I mean, watch, I'm going to show you this stitch in a minute, but watch what I do if I don't really have a way of holding the yarn and I'm just kind of free flowing it over here and I'm pulling my yarn through. I don't have control over it. I don't have any tension. I don't want to do that. So the way that you hold your yarn really is going to make a difference. It's going to make it more enjoyable for you. And it's going to make your stitches more even over time after you've practiced. So what I do is I wrap my yarn around my pinky. I come in over and then over my pinky and then between my pinky and my ring finger. Then I go behind my other fingers. Wait a minute, what do? I go between, I wrap it around and then I come up behind. So it looks like this. What that does is creates a tension that isn't going to just slip off your hands. I want to have control of my yarn. So I'm going to wrap it around my pinky and then over my index finger so that I always have some tension here. I can control this. So I can make my stitches as tight or loose as I need to as I go along. I tend to crochet kind of tight, and that's just me compared to what I see other people do. So your tension, your comfortable way of doing it may be a little looser or a little tighter. Just make it comfortable. Again, make sure your hands are relaxed. Please don't grip the yarn like this. It works. Don't crook your finger. It works. And I'm saying don't do it, not because it's wrong. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. This just isn't good for your finger. And you're going to get tired really fast. Your fingers are going to cramp. And you're just not going to be able to do it as long as you're not going to enjoy it. So enjoy the journey by being really good to your hands, being relaxed with the way that you use your both hands. So what we've got here is our working yarn. That's this piece, and then you got this tail down here. That's the piece you cut. You just want to leave that hanging out of the way. So every crochet project, pretty much every crochet project, is going to start with a chain stitch, and that's what we're learning today. So you're just going to wrap your yarn behind and then in front and pull your hook through the loop. Now you have a new loop on. You made one chain. You're going to do it again. Wrap from behind around the front and pull through. And if you're finding that you're having trouble pulling it through, relax a little bit. Relax your non-dominant hand, the hand that your yarn is in. Relax it so that you can pull. Make sure that you've got movement here. And if you have to wiggle your fingers to kind of massage the yarn through a little, get a little more yarn to come through your fingers, wiggle that pinky. Wiggle that at that index finger. Again, we're going to go behind with the yarn and just gently pull through. And that's a chain stitch. And between every few stitches, I kind of readjust my hand. I get a little more yarn. So you'll see as I make a chain, and then I'm using my hook index finger to kind of hold things in place as I readjust a little bit and wrap around again. And this is just going to take practice. But there's nothing wrong with practice. Make a really long chain. Make a chain as long as you need to feel comfortable with this motion. And you may see people do this a little differently than I do, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it. This is the way I learned, and I've been doing it for decades, and this is what works for me. And I'm happy with it. Now, when you're moving, you may find after you've done it for a while, you do less of this yarn wrapping motion and you do more of a hooking motion. Either one is fine. It gets the same results. It's just a difference between which hand is moving. So as I get going, I'm actually going to be using my hook hand more often, and my yarn hand is going to stay more still than anything else. But it's the same motion, whether you wrap the yarn or whether you take the hook and grab the yarn, it's the same thing. So as you go along, you'll find, oh, I have a little knot in my yarn. There it goes. I tend to use my yarn over and over again for just practice and testing out new stitches. So this yarn has been used a lot. So here we are, we're just chaining and chaining and chaining. Relax your hands. Don't fight it. If things are too tight and you're fighting it, relax. Let go of the yarn a little bit. It should be a really relaxed movement. You should be able to do this for hours on end without any cramping if you're doing it right. Right for you, meaning you're relaxed and enjoying it. Just the whole process of this, it's just kind of about the journey, and I think that's true with all crochet, well, and many hobbies, of course, but if you're not enjoying this part, what's the point? If you're just trying to get to the end result, to make that project, I don't think that's nearly as enjoyable as just the process of doing this. And this is something, of course, that you can do while having a conversation with someone else, watching TV, listening to music, heck, reading a book after you get really good at it. Make that chain as long as you need it to be to practice. And what you may find is that your stitches may be a little uneven, and that's really normal when you're starting out, for sure. I've even got a few that are a little uneven here. If you just kind of pull it tight, that'll go a long way toward making your chain just look more even. But it should look something like this. If it doesn't look like that, guess what? If yours just looks like a train wreck, pull it out. Who cares? Start over. Don't be afraid to start over. This is like the biggest lesson that I teach people, because I see, especially online, when someone has to pull out work, especially if they've done a lot of rows of something and they have to go back and pull it out, and people gasp and it's horrifying. But it's not, and I think you should really get comfortable with undoing your work and redoing it over and over again, because there's nothing wrong with having to pull your work apart and start over. It's how we learn, it's how we get practice, it's how we feel comfortable with doing the work. And this is called frogging, when you just have to pull out some of your stitches or all of your stitches, and there's nothing wrong with it. Get comfortable with that, because it's not a bad thing. I frog stuff multiple times a day. But that's just me. I'm always doing and undoing things just for testers. But again, let's start with putting your hook in your slip knot, and you're just going to move your yarn from the back to the front around the hook and pull it through. Gently, relaxed. Catch that yarn, pull it through. Adjust your fingers to get more yarn on them if you need to. Relax, pull it through. I can usually, doing it this way, I can usually do 2 or 3 stitches before I have to adjust my fingers a little bit and get more yarn. But sometimes I do it more often than that. You just want to have a relaxed, fluid motion. It should be fun. You should enjoy it. And practice makes it better. Just practice, practice, practice. If you're enjoying this, please take a second to boop that like button and follow me if you're so inclined. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And just keep going with your chain. Practice, practice, practice. Relax. Enjoy it. When I learned to crochet, the first thing I made was a chain, because that's how we all start. And my mom didn't teach me what to do next. She showed me a chain, and then she went about her housework. And I continued to chain and chain and chain, and I had a chain that stretched all the way through the house. Before she said, "Oh, I guess I need to teach you the next stitch." So the next stitch will be in my next video. But get comfortable with this first, because this is where we all start. And enjoy. Hi, it's Rebecca. Thank you so much for watching. I'm adding new videos at least once a week, so I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe so you don't miss anything. See you next time. Bye.